because the things that you see, we're essentially telling ourselves that there's nothing that can be done about it. That's what we're saying.
No, there is.
From the IEBC point of view, after the Magarini by-election that happened same time with Kasipu and Malava, the IEBC was very clear, and we talked about violence that was taking place in certain polling stations. And what did they say? That they were waiting for police to come and investigate. They're going to send a report to the police, and hopefully till tomorrow. I don't know if it's coming by pigeon mail or what's happening, but it hasn't happened yet. And this is a by-election, which people are saying this should be inconsequential because all you're doing is you're replacing one individual with another. It's not from scratch. But that till now, they're waiting for the police to do a report about violence at polling stations.
You see,
so not that nothing can be done. Nobody wants to do anything about it. And if you have an undesiring commission on certain things that could potentially plunge people into a position of chaos, that's a really worrisome position to be in, isn't it?
Yeah.
You see, it goes back to where we started about people having good behavior. You know, the law cannot regulate everything. The law cannot come and tell you how to behave.
It can tell these two people who have the backing of whomever to actually withdraw from the thing. It can. But the problem is that we don't want to be radical. We think that we can court an issue and just, massage the thing down the slope and then be surprised when it turns around tomorrow and bites us. No, we don't want to be radical in moves to actually do something, because even when there was violence, people were supposed to be censured. A guy paid 1 million shillings like it was no big deal. But then if somebody comes out today and says, you know what, enough of this nonsense, both of you were suspending this thing, and we'd rather have a constitutional crisis than have this, which is a blatant abrogation of the law. But we're never that radical, ever.
I don't think it's that the IEBC doesn't want to be radical. I think we must also be fair to the IEBC. Let me hold their brief for a second. 2 instances. I don't know whether we remember the time when Sabina Shege stood at a rally and said, tutaiba vile tuliiba hiyo ingine, right? And she was summoned, and the Electoral Code of Conduct did its investigation, and they found her culpable, or they attempted to find her culpable, but the courts stopped the process, and they reined in on the IEBC. Something else that I found interesting in the former chairperson Ahmed Isak's book, The Referee of a Dirty, Ugly Game, the IEBC must also ensure its survival as it is doing its work. One of the things that he points out in his book is how, for example, when they tried to limit constituencies in a way that MPs did not like, and MPs told them, you remember that the next time you come to see us for a budget, you're not as independent as you think. So one of the things that I know the IEBC is constantly grappling with is how do we do what we're required to do, but also ensure that the next time we want to get budgetary approval, we don't get our budget slashed and make it impossible to do our job. So there's a survivalist element that I know is very alive in the minds of the IEBC. And when it comes to law enforcement and the extent to which the executive claps back and the parliament claps back on what the IEBC can do, the IEBC becomes a bit more measured in the things that it does, and that's a reality we must sit with.
Final words from you.
For me, I think also we as a people have failed the country or the nation, because you see, I'll go back and look at some of the rights we as people have. For instance, the right to picket and present petitions and demonstrate. Because you see, as a people, if you see, for instance, the way my colleague has said, that IBC can be afraid to take certain measures because they're afraid Parliament might slash their budget and all those kind of things. It is us as a people to support, and we actually have the power. The power belongs to the people. We, the people, we can actually go out on the streets, demonstrate, picket, demonstrate. Because one thing I've come to understand, every government in Kenya understands only one language, demonstration. So my final remarks would be, we as a people should not take these things lightly. For instance, what is happening in Olkalau is just a projection of what will happen in 2027.
Okay.
And we must be able to cure this problem before we get there. Because now when we get there, it will be much more difficult.